is the second day here with Ghazi. Yesterday we went through the accepting the human, accepting the saddle. Today we've just gone through accepting the human from the fence. And now I've just saddled them up, and I'm going to do some rope work with them now. So it's just a continuation of yesterday's work. Yesterday was just getting them used to the saddle. So today we're going to get them used to the saddle and me doing some, rope, flopping the rope around, getting them used to things moving and flopping on them. And I just like a 22-foot ring rope. It works well for this. And where I'm going to start is, just create a loop with the rope. And then I'm just going to put that over the saddle horn. So I attach it to the saddle horn, and then I'm just going to step back and away from him. And then I want to just play with twirling this rope around. I'm not asking him to move. He decided to go off, so I'm just going to go with it, but I'm just going to play with this rope and see what he thinks of it. Just swinging it back and forth. And then I'm going to start creating a little coil and throwing that coil down the rope so I can throw it forward and backwards, just getting him used to something coming at him, but it's not asking anything of him. So it's back to the rhythmic motion of getting him used to stuff. Every horse is a little different, so it's just my way of checking him out, seeing, can he handle all of this stuff? Because if he can handle this, then he can handle me getting up on him. Or it's a lot easier for him to be able to. They still may not. So these are ways of me getting to know him, checking him out. So I'm throwing it up and over him. It's really not a big deal. So I can ask him to go off the other way. Now I can use this rope as a driving aid too, to say, hey, I need you to move. And then I create an intent in me, use the rope to say move off or go forward, whatever it might be. But then I go back into just playing with it. So the tool is more about the horse checking in with me to learn, is that tool mean to go or do something, or does it mean just to get over it or be okay with it? So if I'm okay, he needs to be okay. I'm just out here playing with my rope. And he's doing that pretty nicely. I'm going to throw it over and just bring it around his hind end and see what he thinks of that. A lot of horses right there would get real bothered and take off. They might take off bucking and a kicking. If they do, you want to be able to hold that feel until they relax. Because remember, it's about your release is what teaches. So if they get bothered, you need to keep the feel there until they start thinking about it. Don't quit when they get bothered. But you see how I'm using this as a driving aid there, saying, come on, step up. And he's just like, oh, whatever. It's nice for me to have, a horse like that, but you don't get to see as much on your end of what to do if a horse does get bothered. So I'm just asking them forward again, saying let's move, because you first want to get them comfortable with you twirling the rope around at a halt, then you're going to do it at a walk, and then at a trot. And he's pretty much like okay with that. So I'm going to ask him up. trot. And usually, the faster you go, the more bothered they get by things. He's not really giving you much of a show of anything. So I put a feel on this rope just to see, can he handle that? And I actually can teach a horse to stop by putting a feel on that rope. So every time he slows down, when I put a feel on it, he soon figures out, oh, that means slow down. So I just hold it, and there he's thinking, so I give, I hold to give, until he halts. So I keep that give and take. So, other horses that would really get bothered, you're doing the same thing, and what you're doing is you're teaching them to quit moving their feet when they get bothered, instead of reacting and exploding and taking off. So it's teaching the horse how to think about the thing that bothers them instead of just going into reaction mode. So he's pretty comfortable with that, up in the saddle horn. You would do both sides. I've really only done one side here, but you want to do both sides from the saddle horn. Then you can go on to the next step that I'm just going to go right into here, since he's doing so well, and to keep from boring you on the video, see how I just take the loop and I put it around my stirrup. It doesn't matter which side you start on. And now I'm going to ask him out and around me on a circle. And then I'm going to start playing with the stirrup. So he halts, and that's okay. I'd rather have him halt and think about it than react and take off. So I'm just playing with it, getting him used to that. Again, he's doing so well, he doesn't really care about much of any of this. And that's not typically the case. Usually, most horses, you'll find something somewhere in there. So can I take and throw the stirrup up into the saddle, let it plop back down? Really get them okay with that. And I can use the belly of the rope, or sometimes I might even use the tail of the rope to say, hey, come on, let's move forward. So I'll ask him up to a trot, and then play with it at a higher gait here. And he's doing really well with that. Ask him on in, and then I'm going to change directions, throwing the rope over the horse, and now I'm going to send him off the other way. So now can he wear the rope around his hind end? Asking him forward, put a feel on the rope, and release. Yeah, it doesn't really concern him much about anything. And so now I'm going to ask him up. So when a horse is okay with something, you don't have to sit there and go over it and over it and over it. You can move on to the next thing. So I'm going to ask him now to pick up trot and see. There was a good example I'm always out of the range of the kicking. See, so he's like, no, I don't really want to go. So he gets annoyed, and then he tried to get rid of that annoyance. So that's a really good safety thing for you guys, is to make sure you're always in a place, if a horse were to do something like that, that you wouldn't get kicked or hurt. So that's going to be more of an issue probably with him than anything, is he's just ho-hum, I don't really want to go, and then he gets frustrated or irritated that you ask him to go. So that's pretty good, and then you can also pick up and drop the stirrup from this side. Just all kinds of different ways of having the rope on him, having him carry the rope, moving the rope around, things like that. Like, just gets used to motion up on his back. And then we take it off and do the other side. And there's typically horses will have something somewhere will show up. You know, he's not really getting bothered with any of this stuff, but you know, we'll see as things progress of, you know, where his issue is. So, you know, that's actually a real good thing that, you know, he's not too concerned about this. It concerns me a little bit, because a lot of times horses that aren't really concerned or bothered with the saddle sometimes then get concerned about when the rider gets up there. But we'll see. You know, I don't think so, but you never know. He's a little bit more bothered in this eye than the other eye about the stirrup flopping around. So I just play with it until he softens a little. And then I give it to him. And then I have it show up again. So first you're going to have a nice rhythm going until they get comfortable with that. Then you're going to do the rhythm and quit, and then just have it show up. A lot of horses, it'll startle them there. So you just play with that until they're okay with it, until they're relaxed with that. Because that's what this is all about, is just getting them comfortable with movement and motion and noise and stuff going on around them. So I can throw it up and over, send them off the other way. And I just notice the things that concern him, the things that don't. Because that's what's going to keep me safe. Things that concern him, I want to work on. The things he's okay with, you know, then you can move along with that. So this is good. We actually have forward movement, so that's nice. I put a feel on and I release. Put a feel on, and when he slows down, I release. So I can actually teach him to halt just by putting that feel on the rope. Throw it up into the saddle, pick up the stirrup and drop it. Because now he sees me in one eye and sees all this movement of the stirrup in the other eye. So he has to be able to handle multiple things. Nice. So he's pretty good with all of that. Now, don't put a timeline on this here kind of work. You know, I've just finished up with a horse here, and it took me 2 weeks of doing this work with him, and he was actually a broke horse that had some issues. But it just worked on this until the horse was comfortable with it. So you never know how long it might take. And don't get on your horse until your horse is nice and relaxed and comfortable with a lot of this here work, because this is what teaches your horse how to become relaxed and comfortable with all the motion and stuff going on. So, we thank you for your time. See you next time.